Hey, what's up, Nitro Pros? Hope you all are having a wonderful day. Today, we're going to be going through how to set up a new event pipeline. So, that would be if you are trying to set up a separate set of workflows and a separate opportunity pipeline for different kinds of events to get very specific messaging for each type of event and have a different workflow that you can track your leads through. So we can set up instead of having your wedding couple journey, you would have your customer journey for the event, any kind of special events, whether they are like corporate anniversaries or quinces. You can tailor the messaging to speak about corporate events or have your specific event brochure with different pricing, because a lot of our venues have different pricing for for their weddings and for their events. So we'll jump in here. We'll want to start in the opportunity section. For that, we'll want to come into opportunities and then create a new pipeline for your events. So from there, we can come to the top menu and go into pipelines. And then you'll find your wedding couples journey pipeline. And what I like to do is open up a new tab with the pipeline in it, so I can just go from one to another and copy and paste. So we'll come to the opportunity section, just open the link in a new tab, and that'll allow us to have a separate tab to work on our event pipeline. So from here, we can create the pipeline. Can paste in the wedding couples journey and just change that to B. You can label it whatever you want, but I just find that making sure to label everything very organized makes it easier to find everything. So we can go with the events pipeline. We'll pretty much have all the same stages that we have for a wedding. You can modify this too if you find that you need to add in like a proposal stage or a send contract stage. That can be edited to add in new stages if you need to. So we'll just go with new lead, add some stages here, make it easy. Get the point. I'll pause this so you don't have to watch me do it all. All right, so we have all of these stages entered in here. Sometimes we may not, for corporate events, we may not use the not ready yet long term. If you just want like 2-week follow-up, you could just get rid of that workflow and that stage in this section if you want to. And then we can update whether we want them to be visible in the funnel chart and visible in the pie chart, which are on your dashboard. So that would be if you were in here in the dashboard. That's how you choose what shows up in the funnel chart and the pie chart here. And you can toggle between your pipelines, which pipeline you want to see. So for when we add events, we'll be able to see the events in the dashboard, and then you can choose which stages you get to see right here that are broken down. So I usually like to just have the new lead in there, hot lead, interested, have long term. We can get rid of the tour survey. We can get rid of the maybe no shows and cancels if you don't want to see them in the pipeline. And then you can see how many toured and booked. So that's up to you which stages you want to see in your funnel chart and pie chart. And you can choose whether you'll have the option to toggle them. You can take off wedding completed. Maybe you want to see the no-shows and the cancels. So you can save that in there. And then you'll now have the event pipeline. And then if you want to look on the dashboard, you'll be able to see your reporting for how many leads are in each different stage of the pipeline. So now instead of wedding couples journey, we'll also be able to see the event pipeline with all the stages that you select to see there. Same goes for the stage distribution. So we can go back to our pipeline. I like to just copy what I have set up in the wedding couples journey. We don't have the tour results survey and the not ready yet long term, and the no show canceled. So that way you only see how many leads you have, new lead, hot lead, how many interested, how many have confirmed tour, how many toured and didn't book, and then how many weddings you have confirmed, how many leads that you have that have confirmed weddings. And you can see that reflected here. We switch to the event pipeline. You can now see which leads or the stages that you've updated that to. So now we have the pipeline built for events. We can then come into our automations and start copying over all of our automations. That way it makes it easy to duplicate the framework for the funnel we have set up. So you'll have, if you don't have a events folder yet, we've moved the other events workflow. This is what we have set up out of the box. It's just a basic autoresponder, which is basically just to tag them as being another event, give you a notification, a text and email notification, and then it will send a SMS to the lead, just thanking him for the inquiry and letting him know that a team member will reach out to help them shortly. So instead of just having the one autoresponder workflow, what we're going to be doing is setting up the full automated pipeline that you have for wedding venues to move them automatically from stage to stage to stage down your pipeline until they're booked and completed for a wedding. And then you can do review follow-up campaigns with completed weddings. So we'll come into our automations. If you don't have a folder, you can go up to the top right, create a new folder, then you'll just label it Nurture Pro events if you wanted to, or if you're doing quinces or anniversary, just label whichever folders you want. You can start doing this for really as many kind of events as you want to set up. I guess if you do enough of them for it to merit having the separate automations and putting the work into setting them up for the different types of events. And then you can just, on the contact form, we can add a separate button or like a radio selector where they can select what type of event they're interested in. So we have the wedding booking funnel, and then we can also do the event booking funnel. And then we can start duplicating all of our workflows because we're going to want to pretty much use the same structure of what we have set up for weddings, but we're going to set them up for events. So we'll go ahead and just start duplicating them. Duplicate this workflow. Can erase the copy. I like to just label everything with events then, that way I know which is which. We have the hot lead campaign. We have the interested nurture. Not ready yet long term. Duplicate the workflow, rename it to events. You may or may not be using the long-term nurture that goes out after about 2 weeks of follow-up to 3 months to 90 days of follow-up. Can copy the tour confirmed. That will be hooked up to the event tour calendar instead of the wedding tour calendar. Virtual tour, you can do virtual tour if you'd like to for events, depending on whether that's something you want to offer or not. The bonus of virtual tours is, just creating the least amount of friction for clients to get on a call with you, for you to have more opportunities to talk to them and sell them on your venue. So go to duplicate this one, wedding booked, events, and we can just rename this one to event because it's not a wedding. Then we have the tour completed did not book. Completed did not book, no show nurture. The canceled nurture. And then the booking confirmed. So this one's a wedding, and you can duplicate the workflow and just, oops. I like adding events at the end just so I know it, and then I can just rename it to event confirmed. And I just like having it at the end so it's really easy to see the events on the workflow whenever we are connecting and setting up all the triggers. So you create, and then we have this draft template if you want to use it as well. For once a wedding is confirmed, then you can send out a contract or enroll them in your membership portal with nurture videos to further get to know your clients and educate them on things leading up to their wedding. You can also send out an initial invoice template, and then any kind of communications you want to set up for emailing prior to the wedding. So if you have certain emails you send out 3 months before the wedding or 1 month before the wedding, like a planning and details meeting, or a reminder to get in any insurance documents, or anything like that that you want to try to automate based on when the wedding date is, or request them to submit a new questionnaire. You can set things up in workflows like this, and this is just a basic template we have for you as an example for you to build off of. Or if you want us to set things up, we can also help you with that. So it looks like I have all of them duplicated. If you want to duplicate the wedding confirmed, we could even duplicate that for events as well. and then change this to event confirmed. So now we have all these duplicated. Something helpful, I like to have this showing 50 per page. That way I can see all of the workflows on one page. And once we have all of our duplicates made of our workflows, we can start moving them to the event folder. So we'll just click on the three dots basically for all of our events and then go to the move to folder. Out of the wedding booking funnel, and we'll want to put them in the event booking funnel. That way we can keep everything nice and organized and not have like a million different workflows in one folder, and keep basically all of our different pipelines separated. So that's real easy to organize and keep track of where everything is. Trust me, it does get out of hand sometimes if you have just all of your workflows splayed out and just mixed together, especially once you start getting more and more things set up and automated. Folder, event booking funnel. Just go down the list. It's easy to find them because they'll say that they're in draft mode because we haven't published any of them yet. Go ahead and pause it so you don't have to watch me do all these. Alrighty, so I went ahead and moved all of those draft workflows for the events pipeline over to the correct folder. You can see that we no longer have any of them. The only draft one we have left is the wedding confirmed send contract invoice workflow. And so now we can come back over to our event booking funnel folder for Nurture Pro, and then we'll see all of the correct campaigns there. And so then what we're going to want to do next is we are going to want to add in the option for events on our forms. So if you want to go to the form, we would go under Sites. And then we see the Forms tab at the top menu bar. We would want to go to Builder. And then in the Nurture Pro folder here, we'll have the option to do our pricing brochure opt-in form. And so here we have our opt-in form for the pricing brochure. If you want to change what the name of the other event is, you can do that in two ways. One way is you can now do it from the forms. So we would just come to options we would click on what type of event are you hosting, and then we go to options, and then we have wedding other event. We can also do that under the custom field section. So if I came to another tab, we would go under the settings section and then come down to custom fields. And this is where all of your form fields or any customized form options, basically fields for the forms or anything that you want to set up. You can also add information to contacts. If you want to set up like new fields to have information like how many guests they have, like who the mother of the bride, you could add like a field for the mother of the bride or the groom's name. We have all of those in the pre-tour survey already. So like basically all the fields for the pre-tour survey will live here too. You'll see the different folders we have set up. And so for the pricing brochure opt-in form, you can see we have what type of event are you hosting. And then if you wanted to change what the types of events are, you could change that from other to say special event, or you could add an option for corporate event. You can say, so this is basically how we would set up the different options for which pipeline you would like to put them in. So, for if you wanted to have totally separate messaging for a corporate event or Quince, they could select what type of event they were interested in, then it would put them in a separate pipeline, and then we could create tailored automations or workflows to really personalize the message for each type of event and to adjust for how your specific sales workflow works for each type of event. Because corporate events are slightly different than weddings, and that a lot of times you don't need as long a follow-up. Things are a little bit more cut and dry. Either they want the place or they don't. It's not nearly as much of an emotional purchase. You might be marketing different things like specs and event space and like outlets and power cords and like things that they'll need to set up for booths as opposed to needs that you would typically need for weddings. It could differ. So we could delete those if you wanted to like change it from other event to special event. You could do that as well. And then we'll just want to save it there. You can also do that now just right here if you wanted to. So if I refresh this, we'll see that updated. So here we now, if we want to click on this field and we can go to options, we'll now see that says special event. You can update it here too as well. Just one thing to keep in mind. It's very important that if you do make a change to one of these and this field is hooked up to any of the triggers, you will need to go through and reconnect the triggers for the form field that you changed if you have a trigger based on it. And what that means, I can go ahead and show you. Sometimes I like to make this 100% so it looks a little bit better. So you can save that. So now you have a special event or a wedding. What I mean about the triggers is if we go into automation, so like if we were to go change wedding option for selecting a wedding type of event, since we have that hooked up in here, you can select which form it is. So we have the wedding pricing brochure form hooked up here, and then what type of event are you hosting a wedding. If I were to change what the wording for wedding said, like change to wedding event, you would have to go and reconnect all of your opt-in forms in the initial nurture campaign. So we have the pricing brochure opt-in form that's set up to the wedding. That all looks good. And then we'll want to just come back into our Nurture Pro event booking funnel. And then we can come to the initial nurture campaign and set up our trigger for when we want the lead to be added. So instead of wedding, we'll have this one set up as a special event or whatever type of event workflow you're setting up. Then we can come to the new lead form on the sidebar. We'll want to change that to a special event. That one is the form if you submit it in the sidebar over here for just easily entering new leads. if you are setting up the event workflow, you'll also want to come into this form and you can add the option to select a wedding or event here. So that will be under the forms. Up at the top, go to Builder, come back into the Nurture Pro. We have the Submit New Lead form in the sidebar. We'll just want to come in, update that so that we have in the opt-in form the option to select what type of event they are hosting. If you want to, you can also edit it to make it look a little bit prettier. Options to add padding or change the font size if you want to edit your forms to look any more beautiful or have any different type of design aspects. If you want to change the label, so for this one, instead of type of event are you hosting, since this isn't client facing, this is something that your team fills out for the adding a new lead, we could just say what type of event. Then you have the option to add the lead source. And then you can save your form so that you have the option for selecting which pipeline your lead is going to go into. So we'll save that there. Go back out. I like to come to my other tab, and then I have the trigger all set up right here. So we have the form is the sidebar, new lead form, and then what type of event are you hosting, special event. Save that trigger, and then anytime you want to save an action, you just want to make sure to save it in the bottom right corner to save the trigger or action, and then save the workflow, entire workflow, by saving up in the top right corner. So now we've set the trigger and the initial nurture campaign, we can just continue to work down the workflow and connect up the proper pipeline. So the next stage, we have update opportunity. We can click on that to view it. And then as you can see here, we have the opportunity being updated in the wedding pipeline. So we'll want to switch that to be the event pipeline. And then since this is the initial nurture campaign, we'll want to add them to a new lead stage where they've requested pricing. And so basically what that does is just in the opportunities section, it creates your new contact in the pipeline. So since we have the wedding couples pipeline here, we can see the event pipeline. So when we set this up, it will add the opportunity to the new lead stage in the event pipeline instead of our wedding pipeline. That allows you to have two separate customer journeys going at the same time and keep track of your leads separately. So we'll add the new lead to new lead pricing. We can have the opportunity name be the same, just the contact's name, and then we'll add the source. We allow the opportunity to move in any stage in the pipeline so that if they move forward to a tour confirmed, then they get canceled, they can still be added as a new lead. And the status will be open. You can save that. Events pipeline, request pricing. That looks good. We'll save it. We'll want to choose the assigned user. So depending if you have a separate team member that will be handling like only events, and then another team member that's a wedding manager, does all weddings, you can select different team members to assign the users to. Then we can save the action, save it up there after you have your user assigned. And then we can then get to the initial confirmation email with providing pricing. So what we'll want to do here is we have all these email templates set up. So we have this personalized completely for weddings, So what you'll want to do is then save this as a new template. You can do this two ways. You can do it right here in the editor and go through it and then save this as a new template. And then you'll want to rename it for events. So once we save the new template, that will allow us to then be working in the new template. That way if we made an edit to the old one, that would change the email that is connected in the wedding pipeline. So you always want to make sure just to make a new template out of that email so that you can edit it without it changing in the original workflow. These email templates can also be accessed if you go under the marketing tab. All of those emails will live under the templates in the email section at the top menu bar. So we'll just click the drop down menu and then we can see when we click into the templates, you'll have the campaigns, which are sending out blast emails if you want to send out like one-time email campaigns, announcing events or anything or promotions. And then you'll have the templates that we have all the emails built in. So right now we have folders for all the wedding workflow. So if you wanted to organize these more, you could create new folders. I believe we can create folders inside of folders. So if I create the weddings folder, you can go to view them all on one page. That way you can see all of your email folders. And then okay, so it doesn't look like we can put folders inside of folders right now. So what we'll want to do is can just delete the weddings folder, and then we'll just want to label all of these accordingly. So if I want all the new lead initial nurtured email templates, we can label all these weddings. Just copy then, rename it, and just go down the list and rename them all. Pause it so you don't have to watch me. Alrighty, so once we have all those labeled for weddings, we can then create the new folders for events. So what I like to do is just copy the initial nurture. You can just copy that. Or let's see. Copy it from there. Okay, so I clicked into the initial nurture email templates folder, and I just copied the name from there, and then I want to create a new folder here and then label it for events. Go to 40 a page at the bottom so then I can see them all there. Don't scare yourself if they just disappear on you like it did for me there. Then we can come into weddings campaign or weddings hot lead campaign, copy that, go back to the home folder and create the folder and label it events. The same for the interested. So if you guys get the point, I'll go ahead and pause it and work through these so you don't have to watch me do it. Okay, so we now have all of our folders copied over, one for weddings and one for events. So now we can keep them nice and organized to be able to find them in the future. 1B, I kind of like to go through the list and just see 1-1, weddings, events, 1A, 1A, wedding event, 1B, 1B, weddings, events, 1C, 1C, weddings, events. You know, you get the point, and then go all the way down to event confirmed and then wedding confirmed. And then you could also set up a new folder for contracts and documents if you want to set up new email templates for your contracts and documents that get sent out. So like for a signature request email, you can customize what you can either use the standard generic one, or you can go in and create your own template. Now it looks like this one is pretty generic and doesn't need to be changed to say wedding or event. This one you would want to change if you have separate events, separate contracts for events that you want to send out. And these are for contract signature funnel that we have set up in the site section. So in the onboarding folder, you have a onboarding funnel. If you want to use it there, the clients can go and fill out a form, and then the next page brings them to a signature page that you can put your contract on and then have them sign and date it, and then that will give the electronic signature. You can also do this in the proposals section. This was before that, what we created before with the proposals tool got much better. So you now have the document contracts where you can easily use that for DocuSign if you want instead. So don't really need to worry about the emails for contracts and documents, but we'll have the folders for events here now. We can go to view all 40 so we can then see our weddings and events. If we click into the wedding or the event folder, we should be able to see the copy that we made. So yeah, so you see how when we saved as a new template, we have the events provide pricing now. You can see that the copy we made shows up here in the weddings folder, in the same folder that we copied it from. So what we'll want to do is just go ahead and move that to our event initial nurture folder. So new lead initial nurture events. And move that. And what you can actually do, instead of like going through and doing all the templates in here and changing, editing from the workflow builder, what I find is a little bit easier is to actually come in here to the email templates and just copy all of the email templates, make a duplicate, and then move them to the right folder first. And then all you have to do is come in here and update it. So we're going to want to create a clone of that. And we can rename it events. Delete the little note, I guess. So we'll label it with events, clone it, Then we'll go to the next one, to email 3, clone it. Oops. Label it events. So we have the pricing follow-up and the pricing follow-up, and then we have email 4. Can duplicate that. Go to clone. Events. Can rename that if you want to remind yourself. Email 4, email 5, and email 6. We'll just want to do that with all of them. Awesome. So now that we have all of those cloned, you can see we've added events to the end of all of them. We can go to email 2 and then move them all to the right folder, which will be the initial nurture for events. And do email 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'll go ahead and pause it so you don't have to watch all this. Awesome. So we have duplicated all of those emails and then moved them into the folder for events here. So now we can go up into this folder and see we have email 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So once you have those copied over, you can go ahead and go through and do the same for all of the different campaigns. So we'll want to go through and toggle it to 40 a page, and then we can start working through our hot lead campaign for weddings. Thankfully, there's only one email in here, and this is just a notification. If you want to, you can leave this the same for the hot lead notification, and we can just add in the name and then add in event type. And then we can come up to the custom value section here, go into the contacts details, and then we can search our custom fields. We can either scroll down and try to find it, or we can just type in type of event to search for it. And then we have the custom field that we set up for what type of event are you hosting. So this will pull in whichever type of event they select on the pricing brochure opt-in form, so that whenever you have a new hot lead notification, you'll also be able to see what type of event it's for. If you wanted to even add it in before, yeah, that would actually be good. I would just leave it as the event type. You can even bold these if you want to make it look a little bit nicer. Then we'll save that template. So we have the hot lead campaign. That's good for both weddings and events. So I guess we can rename the folder for weddings and events. That way we don't have to have both. So the hot lead campaign for weddings. And rename the folder wedding/events, because we're going to use the same email for both because it's just a notification. Then I'll go ahead and delete the hot lead campaign folder for since we don't need it. So we'll have both of them in the same folder since there's only one email there. So that one's an easy one. We can move on then to do the interested nurture. Go to 40 per page, and then we can go into the interested nurture for weddings. Start making a copy of all of our emails here, which we only have 3 emails. Can clone it. Then label it for events. So that's email 1. Email 2 for pain points. Can label it. Sometimes it opens it up, sometimes it doesn't. Email 1, 2, and the last one. Clone it. Label it. Send it. Come back out of this since we don't need to edit it. And then that way we have an email template that we can easily and quickly just edit for events, and we don't have to redesign it or redo a lot of things. It makes it super quick. So then from there, we'll want to just add them all to the folder. So all the events emails we'll want to add to the event pipeline. You can just type in event. And this is the interested nurture. So we'll want to move them to the interested nurture folder for events. 2, move to folder. So you can say 1B, maybe that'll get us there quicker. And then all 3, move to folder, workflow 1B, interest in nurture for events. So now we have all those cloned to the folder for events. Oops. So we can go to the next one, the not ready yet long-term nurture for weddings. This is where the bulk of the emails are. I believe you have 17 emails in this folder for the long-term nurture. So these are all wedding specific, so you can copy these over to the events workflow if you want to follow up that long and then repurpose all these emails, or you can just leave them in here and not use the long-term nurture for events. That is totally up to you and what you need for your business to and what you find close more leads, and how much time you want to take to copy all of these and put them into new folders and then rewrite all the email copy that you have. So we can go ahead and copy all of these if you want to. Add in all these emails for corporate events. Definitely the more you can do, the better. And you can even pare it down to send out, tips and hints about corporate events or whatever type of event you want. So we can go ahead and just clone it. Rename it for events. Take out the subject line, since it won't be a vendor checklist. clone it. So we're at email 9, then we can go through and do all of these emails. So email 10, we'll want to clone it, rename it, events. You can back out of it and go ahead and pause it so you don't have to watch me do all of these. Alrighty, so now we have all of them copied. So you can see we started at email 9 here. We have email 9 here, and then we went through and just went all the way up from 9, 10, 11, 12 to 25 emails. And this number 9 starts, that's how many emails they've received since the start of nurturing. So then once we have all of our emails copied for events, then we'll want to just start moving them over to the long-term nurture folder for events. So can do 1C, we have long-term nurture 90-day for events. And we'll just go down the list from 9, 10 to folder 1C, events, to folder 1C, select events, and go all the way down the list. Cool, so I've just moved all of those event emails from the long-term nurture weddings folder into the events folder. You can see all these emails in there now, and then all we'd have to go and do is start opening them up and editing all the copywriting, and then going to settings and changing out your email subject and preview text. So then we can come back and go to the next one down. So we went from not ready yet, long-term nurture for events. The next one would be the tour confirmed. So tour confirmed reminders for weddings, our virtual tours, and our regular emails, or sorry, on-site tour emails. So we'll want to go ahead and copy all these over. I think the internal reminders can stay the same. We'll just want to add the event type in here. Can go to the from the custom field. It's going to be type of event. What type of event are you hosting? So we'll save that. even add this to the URL to make it dynamically open. This is a little bit more advanced of a trick, but you can come in here and then whenever you click the button, it'll pre-fill that information. So then we would do and come to the custom field and copy the field name. Equals this custom value. Oops. I'll have to test to make sure that works later. Leave that set up right. So we can go back. And then have the tour confirm internal notification. So we'll just want to add the tour date, type of event. What type of event are you hosting? So we can save that. So those will be the two internal notifications, and then we can copy over the client-facing confirmation and then reminders here. So we'll do email 1, confirmation plus pre-tour survey. Can label this as events. Clone it. Have the email 1 confirmation, and then we'll want the email 2 3 days prior email. You could even leave the virtual tour. Well, we can clone it in case you want to change anything about the virtual tour for events. And then we can move all these emails over to our folder. Just do 2A for, 2 for the tour confirmed. For events, 3-day prior. And then the virtual tour for events. So now we have all the ones we need moved over for the tour confirmed for events. And then just keep working your way down the list. So we have the tour confirmed, plus reminders, plus survey. And then we have the tour completed, did not book for weddings. Can make copies of all these. Email 1, email 2. Email 3. Email 4. So we now have email 1 through 4 for the events, and then we'll just move them all to the correct folder. So this one's going to be the 2B folder for tour completed did not book. You can see that's right there. We just type it in, make it real quick to find it for events. Email 2, move to the folder. Email 3. Email 4. So we have emails 1 through 4 for the tour completed did not book. Check to make sure they're all in the folder. Looks like all the events ones are. Move down the list. So for tour no-show and canceled, we can probably use the same email templates for weddings and events. Check this email. It's like that's generic. The only thing we'd want to do is change out the slider image. So if you preview this template, since we have the dynamic email image sliders for the emails, these would all be reflecting weddings. So if you wanted to tailor that for special events or whatever type of event you're doing, you would want to also clone all these and move so we can separate them to show events instead of weddings. So we'll go ahead and copy all the no-show nurture. Clone email 1, 2, and 3, and we'll just rename them all events. So now we have all of them cloned for the no-show nurture, email 1, 2, and 3. Then we'll just want to move them all to the folder we had. So we can type in 2C for the workflow, put it in the events folder. Same for all these. Go check our folder for tour no-show for events. Looks like they're all there. Then we can do the canceled nurture, the same thing. We don't have any for our events yet. View 40 per page so that we can see all of our folders. So let's go to the canceled nurture for weddings. We only have one email here, so it should be easy. This will have the image sliders at the bottom, so if we wanted to personalize that more for different types of events, we could copy that, clone it, and label it for events. And then we'll want to move it to the 2D folder for events, canceled nurture for events. Then we can do the event confirmed, which would be the wedding confirmed. We only have one in there. That's just the confirmation email. And then if you want to start adding more emails for any communications you want to do to nurture your couples or customers before the upcoming event, like sending out updates, things to be prepared for. So we can clone the wedding confirmed. We'll want to just rename that to events. Go ahead and label it the back end, clone it, and then move it to the correct folder for event confirmed. All right, so now we have all of our, we can do the contracts and documents too. If you are not using the onboarding funnel, then you can just skip through this and you would just be using a proposal or estimate that can send out through a workflow. So we have all those, and then we can just move them to the right folder. Cool, so now we have contracts and documents for events. So now we have all those copied over. Awesome, so that was the bulk of cloning them all over to the right folders. And then what you will need to do is then go through and then update all the copywriting to reflect events. So you'll just come through and change out the emails. You'll have to also create a new trigger link for your pricing. So we could change out the image here to being something more along the lines of a corporate event. You can just upload an image. If you wanted to search a stock image, you can go to Unsplash up here. Search for a corporate event. You know, put a picture of your corporate event venue. And then, you know, change out the copywriting for all of your events. And then we would need to come to create a new link to the event brochure. So what we'll want to do for that is, if it's not in your account already, we'll want to create a trigger link and a custom value. So what I like to do is go under settings. We can create it. The reason we do this is so that it's real easy to update any of these custom values in the back end. And what that will do is make it super easy to add them in here, and then we can just change it in one place, and in the custom value section here, and it will change up the pricing link every in all the emails and all the places that we use it throughout our nurture campaigns. So it's just an extra thing we do to make it super easy to set up. So what we would want to do is come in here, go to our trigger link custom values. I like going to 100 per page. And as you can see, we have sorry, it's not in the trigger links. It will be in the pricing. So it looks like we already have one created here. So for the pricing link, we have the pricing link for the wedding brochure here. That's what we enter for your Google Drive link, or wherever you host the PDF. We can add a link to it here so that whenever you click it in the email, it will go to this address. Then we would enter in our event brochure. You can create a custom value up here. You would just create custom value and then type in pricing link dash event brochure, and then you could enter in the value there and then create it. Since we already have one created, we're not going to do that. If you want to add it to a folder, you can do that as well by moving to a folder. So maybe you would want to create, if you're having multiple events, we would want to add a folder for pricing brochures. Then we can add the event brochure and the wedding brochure to the pricing brochure folder for the custom values. Then that makes it super easy to update. Since we won't have to go through this big long list of custom values, we can just come up to the folders section and find our pricing brochure links and update them here. And then once you have the pricing link created, you'll want to copy the custom value here so that we can then go add it to the trigger link, which will be under either marketing or conversations. You can see up in the conversations they have the trigger links, and then also under the marketing tabs you can find all of your trigger links. Then we'll want to see if we have one here. It looks like we do have the pricing brochure for the events created. If you wanted to add the link, you would just go to add link, then add the name, pricing, events, and then we could add in the custom value there. So that way we only have to add that link in one place, and then it will appear anywhere we have this trigger link. So since we already have that created here, we have the pricing brochure for events, and then the custom value set up for the events there. So once you have those two set up, then you can come into your emails here and then update the links so that this will no longer say, or they'll say, see the custom values pricing name. We have the custom value set up so you can change it in the back end under custom values. That way you can change, if you change it to pricing pamphlet or our pricing guide, you can change the name of what that's called right here under the pricing name. Call it the pricing brochure or whatever you want to call it. You can even add that to the folder for pricing brochures. That you can change what the name is if you call it pricing guide or inclusions and budget guide, whatever you want to call it. It's easy to update the name right there. We'll want to come and change this link from, go to the trigger link and then add our, instead of a pricing brochure for wedding, we'll want to make sure it's updated to the pricing brochure for events. Then we'll save it, and then we'll go to the button here and make sure to change our link URL from the pricing brochure to our trigger link for events. And then the button will also say the pricing name. It's set up dynamically to populate that. Want to save our template. Change out any copywriting that you want to change for events, and then we can also change out images for events to add images for events down here. So in order to do that, we have them set up with custom values in the back end. They're under the folders for email template settings. These are all going to be for weddings. So we can update all of the names for this to reflect weddings. Do it under all values, then we don't have to go back and do it. Let's see. So I think I want to add it at the end so they'll all stay next to each other. So we'll update that to weddings. That will move it back up to our next to our other ones. We can change email 2, then do it all for all 6 emails, slider images. So now we have all 6 of those dynamic images for the emails. We can then just copy one and start creating our custom values for all of our events. So this one will be events. Enter an image later. So we have email 1. Email 2. Put it in the email template settings folder. Forgot to do that on email 1. So we have slider image 1. Should have 2 for events. And then we can do 3. 4. 5. And then 6. Cool, so now we can check our email template folder. You see wedding events, weddings and events, weddings and events, weddings events, one for each. View more on the page. Cool, so we got images for each, and now we can dynamically populate and select images from our media library. So what you would want to do for those is just to go into the media storage, upload your folders. You could create a new folder under new upload. Can search for it in Unsplash or Pixabay just to have stock images right in the file. So then you would want to choose your images from special events that you guys have had. So we can go ahead and select a few just to populate in there, for example. You want to make sure they're the same aspect ratio as each other for those image sliders. So now we can go to My Media. Should have looks like it added it to the home folder, so we can 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 6 images. We'll want to move them to the event venue folder. I think I can just drag them in there. And then you would get the link. For this, I like to open up another tab so I can get the link and then just paste it right into the email or right into the custom value. So we come down to our custom value section here and then go into the folders. I actually like to do it right on this page so that it doesn't make me go back. So we can go to our event email slider, edit the custom value. Instead of the hashtag, we'll put in the link to the image. Go back to our next one, get the link. Then go to our next image slider, paste the link, so on and so forth. Alrighty, so now we have all those images entered in there into our custom values. We can go and add these custom values into the image slider for our events. So instead of having weddings, we're in the event template. So we'll want to select our image slider, click on it there, and then we'll see our image sliders come up here. This one was made for weddings, so we'll just want to go and change that custom value to our events for slider image 1. And then we can actually just, we'll want to paste it from here, so we can go to slider image 1, slider image 2 for events, then paste it in there. And then the next one, little trick I like to do, since these are all pretty much the same custom value, is that instead of copying it, I can just go and change the number to 3, and then the next one go to 4, change it from 2 to 4. Next one down will be slider image 5. So change this one that I just pasted to image 5, and then same for image 6, and paste in the same one we did with image 2, but then just change it to image 6. That goes a little bit quicker than going back and forth and pasting. We'll save the template. And then in order to view this image slider, you want to just preview the template. And then from there we can see should be able to see them there. Enter in our custom value correctly. Have all the custom values entered there. So maybe we just need to save the template and refresh the page so that it can pull that data in. So we refresh the page, we'll preview the template. There it is. There's all our corporate event photos pulled in. And so now you can easily copy this element and then add it to all of your corporate event emails to have the pictures reflected. So we'll go ahead and go to this section here. If you ever want to save a section, you can go to the section and then just save it. And then you'll be able to access it right here and always be able to access it in the future to quickly drop it into all of your other email templates. So this one will be image slider with 6 images. Custom values. And we can label this one for events. We don't even need custom values. Then we'll rename this one since this is the weddings. So now that those are saved, we can save the template. We would want to update this for special events. So we'd want to say, instead of getting married, we could say, we are so excited to hear more about your special event. So exciting. You can update this copy if you want to. Amazing events we've been hosting. Here's a few things that set us apart. Change that from wedding to just an experience. The value is unbelievable. We're dedicated to making your event a smashing success. So you can update your copy however you want. Oops. As stress-free as possible. And then you would want to make sure all the links are set up correctly. You're ready, just reply to this email. You will still want them to take a personal tour for an event. Change this. However you spell colleagues. Save that. Double check it. Preview the template. If you want to check the links, you can send yourself a test email. You can even view it on mobile too to see what the experience is like on different devices. Then if you want to send yourself a test email, you'll want to also go to the settings and make sure to update the email subject. If it is wedding specific, this one's just welcome to your venue name or your business name, and then it'll say contact's first name. So say like Test Jane. From user first name, we can put the location name, account name. This will be, oops. We like to put the user's first name that's assigned to them. This will be the team member that's assigned in the workflow. And this will be your business name. So they'll see the location and they'll see your venue name and the team member. So it just sticks in their head more. So you can make sure to save the subject line for the email and all of the settings. Then we can test the email. Send it to my test email. Send it. We can go and check our email for it. So now you can see what it looks like. It'll have your username and then your venue name. This is just set as the wedding venue lead nurture system. This is the system you're using. You can see the email we have set up. You can test the pricing brochure link. This should go to nowhere because we don't have an event link set up for the brochure. If we wanted to, we would go to our Google Drive. So what we like to do is host it in Google Drive. So if you would already have your live pricing brochure with us, we just put it in a folder and then upload your pricing brochure. So we'll just take one from one of our beloved clients here. So this is a good example of a client that has both weddings and events set up. So they would have the wedding pricing brochure in one folder and connected to the wedding link. And then we can also have their general corporate event pricing or general event pricing inclusion guide. So we would just want to go to share that. You can look at the link there if we want. You can click share in the top right corner. Be sure to change it to general access so that anyone with the link can access it. And then we'll copy the link. Go back to our custom values here where we set up the pricing brochure link. And then if we want to easily find it, we can either Command F and then search for pricing link for the event pricing, or we can also go into the folder. Since we have the pricing brochure folder now, we can just go to the pricing link for the event, edit that custom value, and then drop in the event brochure. And then the cool thing is once we update this custom value, it will update it for all the past links too. So now that we have that in there, we should just be able to come to our email here and then test out our pricing brochure link to make sure that the trigger link's connected right. Look at that. We have the pricing inclusion guide for BAM. You can check this link. That all looks good. This all looks good. Got our corporate event photos. Everything's talking about corporate events in this email. Cool, so that all looks good. And then now that the initial confirmation email looks good, we'll just want to work our way through all of our email templates and update them for corporate events. So you can fast forward this if you get the gist, or we can come through and just go from instant email 1, then we can come to the second email. We're going to want to change out the slider, because right now, as you can see, if we go to preview template, this still has all of our wedding photos. So I want to go back to the email, can delete that, come up to the saved items, and then we can get our event image slider, and then just drag it over from there, drop it in, and then when we preview it, you can see that is updated to our corporate event photos. Come back to the image builder and then double check this copy. So this one will still want to be sure to attach photos. And then we'll want to change our call to action button from the schedule a tour for weddings to schedule a tour for events. So we'll want to add a new custom value for that too. So we can go to our trigger links, the marketing section, go to links, and then we have a schedule the tour link. Let's see. Schedule a tour. So here's our schedule a tour link. We'll want to change that to weddings so that we know which calendar it's booking to. So whether it's an event tour or a wedding tour, we'll want to differentiate that. So we can do schedule a tour for weddings. We'll also want to come to our custom values and then come to our trigger links for custom values. We have a trigger link custom value for schedule the tour. So here it is. Trigger link schedule a tour. We can edit that one and then say it's for weddings. Copy that because we're going to create a new trigger link or a new custom value for that trigger link for events. The value will want to come into a new tab for our calendars. So now we can come under our calendar settings to go find the event tour calendar, which is right here. And we'll want to copy that share link so we can click the 3 buttons, go to share, copy the permanent link. And then we'll want to enter the permanent link under the custom value. So that way, whenever they click to schedule a tour, it will take them to the tour calendar for events. And then we can add this to the trigger links folder. So now we have the trigger link for schedule a tour. We'll want to copy that trigger link, or sorry, the custom value, and then put that in our trigger link that we just created. Looks like we didn't create it yet, so we'll want to go ahead and just copy this, change it to events, and then copy our trigger link for events tour, and then drop it in our trigger link. And then save it. Awesome. So now we have a trigger link set up for our event tours. You should see it, I guess it's on the second page now. Schedule a tour for events. So now we can come into our email again and then update all of our custom values, or sorry, all of our buttons for the call to action to go to schedule a tour for wedding instead of events. Oops. Just save it, and then this is the call to action button text that is in our email settings. So our call to action after getting them to opt in for pricing is going to be scheduling a tour. So you can see that is in here in the custom values. So we have, if you want to change the wording, whether it's private venue tour, schedule your free venue tour, schedule a tour today, whatever you want to customize that button call to action to say, you can update that here, and that'll change it across all of your emails. So you can go in here and preview it so you can see that that's the text that it adds in there. We can go back and just be sure to update this button to link to the tour scheduling link instead, or sorry, the event tour scheduling link instead of the wedding tour. Looks like we might need to refresh our page to see it there. Tour links. Now you can see the schedule a tour got updated for weddings, and now we can add our schedule a tour for events. I want to save that. And then check over your copy. Make sure it's all updated for events, and then we can go to test the email. Add the location name to the subject line. Sorry, to the sender name. You'll also want to, so before we test it, we'll actually want to go to the settings and then update our from name to the, add the location name if it's not there. From email should always be your from email custom value. And then the email subject you can change if it needs to be updated to reflect events. This one looks like it'll work fine because it's just trying to say, oops, we forgot to send you some pictures. We'll save that under the settings, and then we can test the email here. Send the test email. And we can come to our inbox, check the email. Oops, I forgot to give these. That looks good. Check all the copywriting. Then we can test our button to make sure that it opens to our event calendar instead of our wedding tour calendar. And then that way our system will know whether it's a wedding tour or event tour. That way you can personalize the reminder campaigns and then the follow-up after the tour. So we can come out of all of that, and then you'll just want to keep working your way down the emails, making sure to personalize and customize it for the events. Email 1, email 2, so now we can go to email 3. Want to make sure to go through this. Looks like this all is just generic enough to be talking about wedding still. We'll want to update the trigger link to be schedule a tour for events instead of weddings, and we'll want to make sure to update the slider to have corporate event images. That one's weddings. This one's events. Save the template. Want to make sure to update the from name if it needs to. If it has it already, you don't need to worry about it. Email subject looks fine. It's not wedding or venue specific, so we can leave the email subject. We're always going to leave the from email as the custom value for from email. That way it's easy to update if anything changes. Save it. Send the test email. You can also preview it right here. You just can't test the button from the preview mode. You have to send yourself a test email to test the button. Here we go. We have the email. Schedule a tour goes to the event tour calendar instead of the weddings. We can come back to the email. So that one looks good. And then just keep working your way down and edit all of the emails to reflect events. And you would just go through every workflow. I'm going to go ahead and pause it and work on all of these so that you don't have to watch me do it. And then I'll restart it next time there's something that we need to go over for any links or anything.